So in front of me here, I have another Camillus. I believe this video is going to come out right after the video on the Camillus rope knife. This is a Camillus Stockman that I got off of eBay the same day. I think this one was like, I spent like $65 on it because it's pretty much brand new. It came with the bottom part of the box. It didn't come with the box lid, but I got the bottom part of the box, and I think it's got uh, paperwork in here. So if I really cared about stuff like that, that would be cool. This is just going to be a knife that I carry, so not super all about this, but this stuff is always cool to have. Um, but for somebody like me who's not really like a full blown collector who's gonna like maybe someday resell the knives. Like I do keep my tubes for my Great Eastern Cutlery knives and the boxes for some of my nicer knives. And since I have the paperwork for that, I'll probably put it somewhere. But I mean, overall, this isn't really a super valuable knife. I don't think this is just a Camillus Stockman, and it's a little, uh, it's well enough put together, obviously, but it is a little rough around the edges in some ways. To start off here, you get this jigged Delrin, uh, like imitation stag or bone, but it's just Delrin plastic. You got a shield there, a badge shield, I believe is what Great Eastern Cutlery would call that. Of course, being a stockman, you got your main clip blade. This is a pretty nice, large clip blade here, um, and I like the way it's shaped and everything. You can see the blade does rub against the liner when you close it. Um, Camillus, New York, USA. Back when Camillus was still made in the United States, obviously. And when I close this blade here, um, you can see it's resting right up against that liner. You got your normal sheep's foot blade. Um, Once again, rubbing. It rubs against the sheep's foot pretty good. And then you got your spade blade. It rubs against the spade blade pretty good. You got your spade blade here. One of these, that one, as I say, one of these doesn't close very well. It's that one. It's kind of gunked up right now. If I put some lubrication in there, that might help solve that. Oh, it looks like it's got like this buildup of metal in there. That's interesting. Let me see if I grab my mineral oil bottle here and just kind of try to put some mineral oil in there. Let me see if that helps fix that. I'll close that time. Um, Still having some issues closing. I think a big part of the issue closing is the fact that it's rubbing on the sheep's foot. I think when it's not rubbing on the sheep's foot, it does close better. But obviously, ideally you don't have to open two blades to put a knife blade away. So yeah, it's a little rough around the edges. If that is just some roughness, it'll probably work its way out and everything. Um, the Stockman really isn't one of my favorite patterns. Now I do say that, but I have quite a few Stockmans at this point. I think just because it's such a utilitarian pattern, you get three blades, which is nice because if you're on an extended trip or if you're using your knife a lot, you have three blades that can all be sharp. So it's nice to have three sharp blades. If one goes dull, you can always use another one as a backup. I think that's one of the reasons why I have so many Stockmans, and it's just a like super popular traditional knife. So I feel like the Stockman needs to be well represented in any kind of knife collection or anything like that. Like I said, this one's a little rough around the edges in a couple ways. It's got some scratches on it and stuff, but it very clearly hasn't been used a whole lot. I don't even know if this has ever really been carried. I mean, has definitely been opened and closed a bunch. And if you look at this bolster over here, I think it's been dropped because you can see right there the bolster has a big old scuff out of it, like it got dropped like this. So I might try to do something with that. I do have some like emery boards and stuff from doing some other stuff. Not my nails, but working on trying to like sand things down, and emery boards are good for that kind of thing. If you don't have emery boards or like the diamond nail file kind of thing, they're a good thing to have around for well stuff like this. So I'll probably try to do something with that, but I didn't feel like doing anything with it until I showed off the knife in the way I got it. I might have paid slightly too much for this, but with the blades being in as good a condition as they are, I don't feel like I did. I'm not sure what the value on a Camilla's Stockman with Delrin jigged handles is or anything. I'm never sure about the value of anything because I don't really pay attention to that kind of stuff. Because, well, for one, I don't care, and for two, it's always changing. So, pretty nice knife made by Camillus. You know, I think Camillus, generally speaking, was like a good brand, but not as expensive as like Case and stuff. The shield doesn't appear to be pinned. Okay, so the shield is not pinned. Shield's just glued in. Um, that's not a big deal. Case, I think, stopped gluing their shields um, pretty long ago. So, you know, for Camillus to not pin the shield isn't the end of the world or anything. Um, don't know what kind of steel these blades are. They're carbon, so I assume 1095, but I'm not sure about that. That believe this is the Model 67 if I'm going from that number right there. I don't believe any of the blades have play, which is nice for me. The main blade definitely does not. Let's see here. Sheep's foot doesn't have any. And the Spay blade here. Yeah, none of the blades have any play, so that's nice. The Spay blade is still a little rough closing. I think I can still feel some grittiness in there, so I think I'm going to have to like try to get in there and try to clean out some of that grittiness. Because I think once I do that, I don't think it'll be a problem because it is opening and closing most of the time. It just gets caught on some grit every now and then. It doesn't want to close. Overall, pretty nice Stockman. I can certainly see carrying it. Um, you know, and the Delrin isn't really my thing, but it is nice sometimes. If you're ever going to go from like really humid to really arid environments, wood and bone and stuff, you know, expands and contracts. Whereas I don't think Delrin is going to do that, or at least it won't do it as much as bone or wood would do. So that is an upside. Overall, pretty nice knife. You know, well enough put together. There's a slight gap there, but basically, I think Camillus is pretty much the knife. Okay, I just threw it at myself. Let me see if I can grab this here. Well, that was interesting. Pretty much, I think Camillus is the in between for like in between like charade or old timer and like case, which would be your like higher end knives and queen. And you know, those higher end ones, this one's kind of like a mid grade knife. Camillus made all of those Remington bullet knives that I have and everything. So I like Camillus. I haven't had a whole lot of actual Camillus knives. Now I have two fairly nice ones. I have that rope knife and I have this Stockman. Um, yeah, hopefully I won't continue to drop it when I go to open it. That was kind of funny. I don't think the knife took any damage, and I managed to not hurt myself, so that's always good. Remember, when you drop a knife, don't try to catch it. That's like the number one law. Just let it fall. Whatever happens, you can fix it later. Um, but you know, if you try to catch it, you'll cut yourself really badly. That's what happens. And I got enough scars on my hands already. There's a good one there that I did a couple years ago. I took a box cutter across two fingers there one time. I think that's all the like really major ones, but I've cut myself so many times. I don't like doing it. It's not fun. You get blood everywhere. You stain clothes and all sorts of stuff. It's just not fun. I definitely prefer not cutting myself. So remember, when you drop a pocket knife, when you drop a knife that's open or a kitchen knife or anything, don't try to catch it. That's like the number one rule, pretty much. But anyway, this is going to be it for this Camillus Stockman. It's a fairly nice looking knife. I kind of like the jig Delrin, even though that's not really my thing. I do really like the clip blade. I like the shape and length of it and everything. This is more along the lines of like a large Stockman, but not quite as large as like Case's large Stockman. But it's, I believe, what most companies would consider to be a large Stockman. And it is a fairly nice knife. I may have overpaid for it, but I'm not that concerned about it. But anyway, that's going to be it for this video on this Camillus Stockman. I will see you guys in the next one, and I hope you have a good day.